Scott's first ever public speaking engagement. This is what it's all about. I noticed there's a number of young people in tonight. It's about your future as much as our futures that we're voting yes in September. So I felt it was very important that we invited Scott along this evening. So first public meeting, I couldn't do it at 17. I'm sure a lot of you couldn't do it as well. So a very special welcome to Scott Blair, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. So yeah, this is my first time speaking, so if I kind of stumble up a little bit, then don't worry, I'm not dying. So, no worries. I thought, coming up here, being invited, I thought I'd talk about how I kind of moved towards voting for yes. And it starts, it's 2012, I go back to January, and I was a paper boy. A Sunday paper boy, you know, just to have my round of people. But I was more of the paper boy who read the paper before anyone else got the paper. So it kind of got me interested in stuff. You know, I delivered, my most popular one was the Sunday Post and the Sunday Mail, which you got in a bundle usually. You often got Sunday Heralds, which were very good, I've heard, yeah, very good. And there's this one called the Mail on Sunday, but we don't talk about that one. But yes, back in January of 2012, I remember I was delivering my few papers as usual, and I saw the Sunday Herald, saw the front cover, and it kind of surprised me and also shocked me. It was the title, I've got it here, I actually sent away for it. It's Fool's Gold, that's the kind of title. Are the Olympic Games worth it for Scotland? I think I'll pass it around. Pass it around, you know. And basically, when I read the article, it kind of shocked me a bit, because I knew already that Scotland's having to contribute to the Olympics tens of millions to kind of help fund it, because, you know, we're part of Britain, better together and all that. And then this kind of shocked me because it showed how we're only getting 0.04% of that back, and it's pretty shocking. I must say 0.04%. That's around $1 million, which is pretty shocking. So that kind of really got me kind of concerned about what Westminster and kind of what they're doing down in London, what they're doing. So then I move on to basically 2012, and the referendum's kind of starting up now. And you know, I've been kind of thinking to myself around that time, this is really important for myself and other young people. Independence is kind of an important thing when you're a teenager, because it's all you really want in life. May it be kind of finally, well, a few weeks I'm 18, so it'd be finally kind of having the independence of going to buy a beer yourself, or it may be the independence of just learning to drive and being able to drive on the road, even though I'm not yet to the pleasure of my parents, who are kind of annoyed keeping driving me everywhere. But yeah, so I started to do research on both sides. I did research from the yes, I did research from no, I did research of kind of independent things. And I found out a lot about kind of that kind of thing, where we're getting an unfair deal from Westminster. And a lot of it shocked me. And I have a few things down here. For example, for 34 of the last 68 years, Scotland has been ruled by governments that were rejected at the ballot box by Scotland, and I think that's pretty shocking. We should be getting the governments that everybody in Scotland wants every time, not just 34 years of 68. Another thing I found out was that how unfairly represented we are down there. For example, 89% of Scottish MPs voted against cutting child benefits. They were cut. And then 91% of Scottish MPs said no to the bedroom tax. We got bedroom tax. And then 80% of Scottish MPs said no to privatisation of the Royal Mail. It was privatised, and actually we were shortchanged. And now people who have the shares in the Royal Mail now are benefiting more than we were. And then another point that kind of shocked me is how much we give and how much we get back in return from kind of Westminster and the Treasury. I've got down here, we collect, from the taxes collected, 53 billion. And then it goes down to Westminster, it gets all kind of shuffled round, and then we only get 46 billion back. It's pretty shocking. We should be cutting. And this really puts you in the point that we're getting a bad deal. We should be cutting out the middleman and finally kind of doing things the way we want to do it. Having kind of our own way in that. And that's kind of something that kind of moved me on, kind of shuffled me forward to Yes a little bit. But yeah, you know, I continued to do more research, and then I was happily surprised by some more research I've done. You know, we always have this stigma, which is often kind of shoved in by Better Together, that we're too wee, too small, too stupid, if you will. And I totally think that is absolutely wrong. It is absolutely wrong indeed. You know, for example, you know, to the point that they're too wee. Yes, our borders might be a little smaller than the rest of the countries. But you know, what happens inside those borders is pretty big when you look at it from outside of this world. For example, you know, we had the Commonwealth Games a few weeks ago. It was pretty great, even though it was kind of cringe-worthy at points. It was pretty great. And then we currently have the Fringe Festival in the moment in Edinburgh, world's biggest arts festival. And that, I love the Fringe, and it's really just great to see. And you know, Alex mentioned how I work at I was with the EIFF as a young volunteer, young programmer I mean, sorry. And we got a little pack, every delegate because we were delegates, we got a little pack for like a little bag and that. And one of the leaflets in it was this one. It's from Creative Scotland, films in Scotland, made in Scotland, basically. And you know, how many films that are world known is really surprising. Like, for example, you've got films like Filth with, oh my goodness, what's his name again? He's the guy from X-Men. And then you've got stuff like Skyfall, which was made in Scotland. And then you've got Dark Shadows and The Dark Knight Rises, all these big films that you would currently kind of think with Hollywood, that are made in Hollywood. They're really, some of them are made in Scotland. And I think that's really amazing and shows how big and great we are. And then, you know, we're often told that we're too poor. Really, how could people think this, you know? For example, we have some fantastic industries, growing industries, and some of them have been mentioned by kind of my past panellists who I'm with here tonight. And I'd like to just mention a few more, right? For example, our manufacturing exports are around 15 billion a year. 15 billion a year, I think that's fantastic. And then our food and drinks industry, it turns over 13 billion a year. That is also really good, it's really good, it's great. And then our creative industries, which, you know, an industry I hope to work in the future, it develops world famous things like films like this, and then like world famous video games you might know of. And that generates over 5 billion a year for our economy, and that's growing. And I think with independence we could keep that growing. And I think we need to keep it growing. And then we get this kind of problem that we're kind of too stupid. But how are we too stupid? We're a very smart and inventive country. We have invented most of the modern world, to name a few things. The television, we've invented the postage stamp, the cash machine, the refrigerator, the tyre, penicillin, and the bicycle, to name a few. You know, how could, you know, our country's invented these things. So, and to benefit the modern world, so why can't we prosper in that modern world? You know? So, just to show you there, we're not too wee, or too poor, or too stupid. And that really is what brought me to, that's a few points that brought me towards voting yes. You know, and I now campaign for Generation Yes, and I now do Yes Tweeddale stuff. I kind of started in December of 2013. It kind of brings us to now. And I hope, I hope so. Thank you very much.